subscriber, we're winding down on our strawberry season, sending out plugs. October is the month we do that every year, and I think this is the third or fourth year we've been selling strawberry plugs, and I can tell you this has been the most challenging year I've had with strawberry plugs. I am so ready to get over it. We've had some issues this year with some disease, hurricane. It's just been horrible, and we're winding down. Look at some of those plants right there. See, they look a little ratty. So it's probably the worst strawberry plant season we've had, but we're working our way through it. Now, strawberries are normally planted in two different ways, plugs and bare root. You'll find most of your bigger strawberry farmers plant bare root, and strawberry plants are very resilient. They do well that way. Most of your home gardeners or your small farmers plant plugs, and that's what we've been selling is the plugs because they're a little more forgiving. And this year our plugs look really ratty because of all the disease and the hurricanes we've had, but strawberry plants are extremely resilient. That's the reason they do well as bare root. We had this whole area here full of strawberry plugs. We got them in a couple weeks ago from the grower, and we have shipped thousands of orders out in the last 2 weeks. We're winding down now on shipping these orders out, and we'll be through this coming week. Now, there was a high demand for strawberry plants this year, or plugs, and the reason why was a lot of growers didn't grow or couldn't grow. There was some disease issues there, and then the hurricane come through. Now, the reality is most of these plugs for the eastern part of the United States are grown up in North Carolina, Kentucky. Some of them are grown in Illinois and Indiana, but the majority of them are grown up in North Carolina. And we know what happened to North Carolina. The hurricane just absolutely blistered it. So a lot of them got damaged or had complete crop failures. So our demand has been extremely high because they're so hard to get. There's no more left out there. So our growers in Kentucky, when we brought our plants in here, they had a little shock from the transport in here. So we wanted to get them out, unload them as quick as possible, and get some of these orders out to some of you guys. So the first ones we shipped out, we graded through, went there and pulled up all the dead plants in there. And there were some dead plants in here that died from the hurricane rain, some disease there. So we went there and graded most of those out, but we didn't cut a lot of the brown part off there. So we had a lot of people complaining, and rightfully so. They actually looked kind of ratty, to be honest with you, but we tried to get as many out as we can. They were coming out with new growth there. Then we started going through there and clipping some of the brown off as we graded through them, and they looked a little bit better. I treated all these with a fungicide, and I already knew this, but these strawberry plants coming out with new growth, and they look pretty clean. These new growth leaves right here actually looks really good. If you look down at the base of the plant, you can tell that we're getting a lot of new growth. Now, strawberries are prone to disease. It's just one of those things. If you're going to grow strawberries, you got to deal with that. We don't deal with insect problems very much, but we deal with a lot of disease, and this year happened to be worse than any one I've ever seen. So the strategy to growing your strawberries is to make sure that you have a fungicide program ready. We like liquid cop, we like garden phos. You can either use our fruit and vegetable fungicide on strawberries up until fruit set, but you're going to have to keep them sprayed. If you're wanting to grow strawberries organically, it's nearly impossible. The only way you may be successful doing that is in some type of high tunnel so you can control the environment completely. Otherwise, you're going to have to probably treat these things with a fungicide to keep them somewhat clean. The drip irrigation helps because we're putting the water underneath there and we're keeping that leaf wetness off of that leaf right there, which is our biggest enemy with strawberries, is having that leaf wet all the time, and disease jumps on there and causes all these leaf spots. Now, we're going to be winding down orders this week. We hope to get the rest of them out. And the fact of the matter is we're not going to be able to fulfill all our orders. We're going to have to cancel some of the orders because we just don't have enough supply. We had a crop failure with a good many of them. When we sold our strawberries this year, we sold 3 different varieties, Sweet Charlie, Camarosa, and Chandler. We'll come to find out we had a complete crop failure on 2 of those varieties, and we only ended up with Camarosa. Camarosa ended up making it through the storm better than any other variety. So all of our strawberries are the Camarosa, but we were short because we lost many of them in the hurricane. The hurricane dropped anywhere from 6 to 8 inches on these strawberries for 2 or 3 days and just absolutely worked on them. And that's the reason they look so ratty. But they're looking really good now, putting out new growth and coming along. They're going to be okay. As bad as I have to say, They look bad when we shipped them out, and I wasn't proud of it at all. I think for the most part, they're going to be all right if you do what we tell you to do and do a fungicide treatment on them, drip irrigation, good fertility, and get them kicked off there. They're going to shoot out there and come back and bounce back. But you know what, folks? It happens sometime with these plants. We have these storms roll through. We just have crop failures, or the crops don't turn out as well as we would like. Florida is facing this right now with produce down there. I just watched a video this morning talking about they're having some harvest down there after the hurricane. Fruit's not perfect by no means, and it looks a little rough, but it's all we're going to have the next few weeks because of the hurricane. Same thing with these plants here. This is just the best we can do. Would I have liked to have a lot better plant? Heck yeah, but it is what it is, and we're going to have to try to deal with it. Now, if you got your strawberries, they were beyond planting or keeping, contact our customer service. Folks, I can promise you, we're going to take care of you one way or the other, but you can salvage all of them or most of them in there, put them in the ground, give them some love, tender care, and they will come bounce back, and I think you're gonna have a pretty decent strawberry crop. The lessons learned from this year is, I think going forward, we're gonna have to grow our strawberry plugs differently. We're gonna have to grow them in a controlled environment, like a greenhouse, so we can control all the rainfall. And when we get these storms in, it doesn't hit our strawberry plants because our strawberry plants are protected. Just about all of your strawberry plugs in the eastern part of the United States are grown on the ground out in the middle of the field with solid seed irrigation, and the outside environment can have detrimental effects on the strawberry plants. So I think going forward, we're going to see two things. Disease problems have gotten worse. I think we're going to see more work on disease-resistant varieties. Another thing I think is we're going to have to start growing these strawberries in a controlled environment so we can control everything. We just signed the papers yesterday on a big commercial greenhouse we're putting in next year, and we plan on growing most of our strawberries ourselves next year in these controlled environments so we can control everything and have a better looking crop regardless of what the weather does. When we sell gardening supplies such as fertilizers and things like that, seeds and all that, we can control our inputs and our quality a lot better than we can with live plants. The problem with live plants is you can't control just like you want to, and that's what we're facing this year with these strawberry plants. If you bought strawberry plants from us, bear with us, try to make the best out of it, understand the situation we're in. We're doing the best we can with the crop that come through the storm the way it did. Think you're going to be okay, but don't fret, neighbor. If you got problems, never worry. We'll take care of you.